Good morning, students. Today's class we will see about the organization and management of neonatal intensive care unit. The organization of a good quality special care neonatal unit is essential for reducing the neonatal mortality and improving the quality of life among the survivors. Government of India has launched an initiative to establish NNICUs and the district hospital to provide care at birth, including resuscitation of asphyxiated newborns, management of sick newborns, referral and transport service for babies needing mechanical ventilation, major surgical intervention, postnatal care and immunization device services, follow-up of high-risk newborns. Newborn or neonatal intensive care unit, an intensive care unit that is designed for premature or ill newborn babies. The management of complex life-threatening disease, provision of intensive monitoring and institution of life-sustaining therapies in an organized manner to critically ill children in a separate pediatric intensive care unit. In 1961, Vanderbilt University by Professor Milbert Steinman. In mid-19th century, Dr. Stephen Sternberg, father of incubator isolate, Mr. Burdin, the father of perinatology, are the historical events in the formation of the NNICUs. Aims of organizing an NICU: reducing the neonatal mortality and improving the quality of life among the survivors. Objectives: to save the life of a sick newborn, prevent damage in infants with problems at birth, and also reduce morbidity in later life. To monitor high risk newborns so as to reduce mortality and morbidity among these babies. Basic facilities for an NICU include adequate space, availability of running water, centralized oxygen suction facilities, maintenance of a thermoneutral environment, availability of plenty of linen and disposables, facilities for availability to treat common neonatal problems. The main components to be considered while organizing an NICU include physical facilities, the personnel involved, equipments, laboratory facilities, procedure manual, transport of sick infants, cooperation between obstetrician and the neonatologist. First, the physical facilities. It includes location, space, floor plan, lighting, environmental temperature, humidity, handling and social contact, communication system, acoustic characteristic, ventilation, and electrical outlet. Location. Located as close to labor room and obstetric care unit. Adequate sunlight for illumination, fair degree of ventilation for fresh air, presence of an elevator in close proximity is desirable to transport outborn babies. The unit design may be in square space or a single corridor based on rectangular unit. Split unit, that means on either side of the hospital corridor, should be avoided for prevention of infection. Baby care area. The unit should be provided with an areas with rooms for inborn or intramural babies, step-down nursery, outborn or extramural babies, examination area, mother's area for breastfeeding and expression of breast milk, nurse's station and charting area. Obviously, infected infants with open sepsis, especially those with diarrhea and abscess, should be isolated in a septic nursery, which should be located away from an NICU and means managed by different nursing resident staff. Examination area. A small comfortable room with examination table, comfortable seating, sufficient light and warmth is needed for assessment of baby before admission to nursery. Mother area. The room should be provided with comfortable seating and privacy to the mother who breastfeed and express that the breast milk with the help of a lactation nurse. Hand washing and gowning. Hand washing and gowning facility should be located at the entrance. It should be provided with abundant space with the self-closing doors. A positive air pressure should be maintained in the NICU so that corridor air does not enter into the NICU. Street shoes are changed with nursery slippers followed by hand washing and gowning. Hand-free elbow-operated hand washing sink with liquid soap dispensary is recommended. Pictorial hand washing instructions should be provided on the wall next to the sink. Hand washing should be dried with a single use or disposable napkins or hot air dryer. The unit should be provided with 24-hour uninterrupted water supply by having dedicated overhead tank with a capacity of 1000 to 2000 liters. Hand washing sink should be provided within 20 feet, that is almost 6 meters, of every newborn bed. The sink should be large and deep. The antiseptic or sanitizing solution can be used disinfection of hands in between caring for the babies. Preparation of intravenous fluid. A separate area should be provided with a laminar flow system for preparation of IV fluids, parenteral nutrition formulas, enteral feeds, and medication. Nurses station. Nursing station and chatting area for nurses or residents should be located in the central area of where all the babies can be observed. Newborn chat, hospital forms, computer terminals, telephone linen should be located in this area. It is preferable to use electronic medical recording of clinical notes and retrieval of laboratory report. Clean utility and soil utility holding rooms. There should be enough space for stocking clean utility items and sterile disposables and for disposal of dirty linen and contaminated disposables. The ventilation system in the soil utility for all holding room should be engineered to have negative air pressure with all air being exhausted to the outside. The soil utility room should be so located so that it be enabled removal of soil material without passing through the baby care area. Staff room. Space should be provided within the unit to meet the professional personal administrative needs of resident staff on duty. A comfortable room with intercom, telephone and computer terminal with washroom facilities available is mandatory. Nurse's change room is required for changing from formal street clothes to dress stipulated by the NICU. Growing nursery, a separate area for transitional care of high-risk babies by their mothers before they are discharged from the hospital. The entry of visitors to this area should be restricted and should be kept adequately warm. Facilities for vitals monitoring and weighing the baby should be available in the transitional room or growing nursery. The growing nursery is used with advantage for educating the mothers in childcraft activities and promoting practice of exclusive breastfeeding. Second is ventilation. Effective air ventilation of nursery is essential to reduce nosocomial infection. The most satisfactory ventilation is achieved with laminar airflow system, which is rather expensive. The centralized air conditioning is used. Minimum of 12 changes of room air per hour are recommended. There should be no draughts of air on or and near the newborn beds. The air conditioning ducts must be provided with millipore filters to restrict passage of microbes. A simple method to achieve satisfactory ventilation consists of provision of exhaust fan in a reverse direction near the ceiling or input of fresh uncontaminated air and fixation of another exhaust fan in the conventional manner near to the floor of the air exit. A constant positive pressure should be maintained in the nursery so that contaminated air from corridors does not gain access into the nursery. The use of chemical air disinfection and ultraviolet lamps are no more recommended. Lighting. The nursery must be well illuminated and painted white or slightly off-white to permit prompt and early detection of jaundice and cyanosis. This is best achieved by the white fluorescent tubes or LED light emitting diodes to provide at least 100-foot candle shadow-free illumination at the infant's level. Spot illumination for various procedures can be provided by portable angle poise lamp having two 15-watt fluorescent bulbs which are held at distance about 1 foot from the infant, producing about 100-foot candle intensity of light. In places where electrical failure is frequent and prolonged, the electrical system of nursery complex must be attached to a generator. Exposure of preterm babies to strong light has been incriminated as a risk factor for development of retinopathy of prematurity. Temperature. The temperature of nursery complex must be maintained between 28 to 26 to 28 degrees Celsius in order to minimize the effect of thermal stress on the babies. It is best achieved by centralized air conditioning having temperature control knobs in the nursery. The air movement should be so designed that draught is minimized. In places where air conditioning is not feasible, the room temperature can be reasonably well maintained in winter by use of radiant heaters and hot air blowers. Portable radiant heater, infrared lamp or bakery bulb can be used to provide additional source of heat to an individual infant. The external windows of nursery should be glazed to minimize the heat gain and heat loss, and baby beds should be located at least 2 feet away from the wall or window. Humidity. In most parts of India, the relative humidity averages below 50%, which is quite satisfactory for routine needs of the babies. Humidity level can be raised for preterm babies nursed in incubator. High and effective humidity level is useful to reduce insensible water loss but is associated with increased risk of nosocomial infection. Space. To serve as a referral unit for infants born outside the hospital, each infant should be provided with a minimum area of 100 square feet or 10 square meter. Space for promotion of breastfeeding, 50 to 500 to 600 gross square feet per bed. Space includes patient care area, storage area, space for doctors, nurses or staff, office area, seminar room area, laboratory area, and space for families. Feed gap between two incubators for adequate circulation, keeping the essential life-saving equipments. The size of the unit is related to the expected population needed to be served. In a maternity unit having 2,000 deliveries per year, facility for special care of 6 to 8 high-risk infants should be available. Each infant should be provided with a minimum area of 100 square feet. There should be no compromise on space, and its adequacy is crucial for reduction of nosocomial infection. Floor plan: an open recommended space. Walls should be made of washable glazed tiles, and windows should have 2 layers of glass panel. The wash basins with elbow or floor operated taps facility having constant round the clock water supply should be provided. The doors should be provided with automatic door closers. An isolation room should be there. Acoustic characteristic: the ventilation system, incubators, air compressors, suction pumps, many other devices used in the nursery produce noise. The sound intensity in the unit should be exceed 76 decibel. The telephone rings and equipment alarm should be replaced by blinking light. Instead of air compressors, centralized source of compressed air oxygen suction should be provided. Decibel meters should be installed to monitor the sound levels in the nursery. The beneficial and soothing effect of meaningful sounds, just gentle music or recording parent voice, should be enhanced to provide physiological stability of the babies. Electrical outlet: each patient station should have 12 to 16 central voltage stabilized electrical outlets sufficient to handle all pieces of equipment. An additional power plug point should be there. There should be round the clock power backup including provision of UPS system. Each infant must be provided with at least 8 electrical outlets. 4 should be of 5 ampere and another 4 should be of 15 ampere. The use of adapters extension boards should be discouraged. Electrical equipment should be in the nursery must be checked at least once in a month for leakage of current. Personnel or the staff: a direct who is on full-time neonatologist. One neonatal physician is required for every 6 to 10 patients. One resident doctor should be present round the clock. Anesthetist, pediatric surgeon, and pediatric pathologist are essential persons in the establishment of an NICU. All deliveries in the hospital should be preferably be attended by a physician trained in the care of newborn. Nurses: the nurse-patient ratio of 1:1 maintained throughout the day and night, absolutely essential for babies on multi-system support including ventilator therapy. For special care neonatal unit and intermediate care, nurse-patient ratio of 1:3 is ideal, but 1:5 per shift is manageable. Head nurse is overall in charge. In addition to basic nursing training for level 2 care, tertiary care requires staff nurse need to be trained in handling equipments, use of ventilators, and initiation of life support like use of bag and mask resuscitation, endotracheal intubation, arterial sampling, and so on. The staff must have minimum 3 years of work experience in a special care neonatal unit, in addition to having 3 months hand-on training in intensive care neonatal unit. Other staff include respiratory therapist, laboratory technician, public health nurse or a social worker, biomedical engineer, and a clerk. The equipments used in the NICU include thermometer, stethoscope, electrical baby wing, scale incubator, overhead radiant warmer, resuscitation equipment, heart rate monitor, respiratory support equipment, oxygen suction facilities, catheters, syringes, and needles and feeding equipments. Emergency tray should be available in each infant care room of an NICU containing ambu bag and mask, infant laryngoscope, tracheal tubes of different size, sterile suction catheters, oral mucus suction traps, and emergency trucks. Bag and mask resuscitator, self-inflating bag of 250 to 500 ml capacity is ideal for resuscitation of a newborn baby. An oxygen reservoir in the form of corrugated tube or reservoir bag helps to increase the oxygen concentration 90 to 100%. Oxygen suction facility, catheter, syringe and needles, feeding equipments, glass, stainless steel bowls of adequate size, weighing machine, pulse oximeter, infusion of syringe pump, blood pressure monitors. Laminar system. These systems are useful for safe aseptic formulation and mixing of drugs, parenteral fluids, and nutrients. High efficiency particulate aggregate HEPA filter is used to filter out bacteria. There are two types of systems are available. In the vertical type, the airflow from the above downwards, and it is recommended for the use in an NICU. Ultraviolet light source in the chamber is kept on for 30 minutes before use to make the area of operation free from bacteria. Strict asepsis should be ensured by wearing mask, sterile gown, and disposable gloves while operating in the laminar flow system. Incubators. The incubators are essential to provide an ideal environment for high-risk babies. About one-third of nursery beds should be comprised of incubators. The main functions of an incubator are isolation, maintenance of thermoneutral ambient temperature, and desired humidity. It is desirable to nurse extremely low birth and stable babies in the incubator. The sensory stimuli like light, sound, touch, and pain should be kept to the minimum without compromising the quality of care. It is essential that incubation should not interfere with observation of infants, should be offer easy access to the baby and really cleanable. Even when sterile water is used in the humidity tank, incubators are of a potential source of infection. The water in the humidity tank should be changed daily and 1 to 2 ml of glacial acetic acid or vinegar should be added to prevent bacterial colonization. Radiant warmer or open care system. During various procedures, the infant loses body temperature unless he is kept warm by the use of radiant warmers. The infrared heat is preferable because it directly warms the subject without affecting the temperature of intervening environment. When an overhead radiant warmer is needed to be used for a prolonged period, it should be combined with a skin sensor and a servo control system. The skin probe is applied over the liver area in the epigastrium and shielded with a coil covered with adhesive pad. When the baby is nurse prone, skin probe is applied over the flank. The probe should not be allowed to come in contact with the bed. These units also have provision for overhead light source and phototherapy unit and more suitable for undertaking any prolonged procedures like assisted ventilation, exchange blood transfusion, or surgery. Babies nursed in the open care system have excessive evaporative fluid loss and have significantly higher metabolic rate compared to babies kept in incubator. After stabilization of the baby kept in open care system, it is preferable to cover the baby with cloths or thin polythene sheet to reduce evaporate fluid loss. Application of sterile liquid paraffin or non-irritating oil on the skin is associated with the reduced evaporable loss from the skin. Other equipments include BaseNet, blood pressure monitors, multi-channel vital sign monitors, infusion pump, pulse oximetry, capnography or carbon dioxide monitoring, ventilators. Oxygen analyzers. This is useful for monitoring ambient oxygen concentration in order to protect the infant against oxygen toxicity. It helps in regulating flow rate of oxygen so that desired concentration of oxygen is delivered to the infant depending upon his clinical condition and oxygen requirement. The newer oxygen analyzers provide continuous digital display of oxygen concentration and trigger of audio-visual warning sign when the environmental concentration of oxygen falls or rises beyond the safety levels. The instrument is calibrated by checking the oxygen concentration of room air, which is kept constant at 21%. Oxygen is supplied through central oxygen source or portable oxygen cylinders. Portable oxygen cylinders are expensive and not readily available in the district hospital or community health center. The atmospheric air is passed through the chemical zeolite which absorbs all gas except oxygen. It can increase the concentration of oxygen in the air from 21% to 90%. The oxygen sensor device shows green signal when the oxygen concentration outlet exceeds 90%. It is possible to treat simultaneously up 4 infants at a time by using oxygen flow splitting device. The equipment is provided with 4 filters to eliminate dust, humidity, and bacteria. Depending upon the flow rate, various concentration of oxygen can be delivered to the patient. Oxygen must be warmed and humidified before administration to the baby. Oxygen concentrators are cost-effective and promoted by WHO in developing countries. They are useful in domiciliary practice for administration of oxygen preterm neonates with chronic lung disease and children with chronic interstitial lung disease. Phototherapy unit. A phototherapy is now generally accepted as safe and effective method of treatment for neonatal hyperbilirubinemia. A light source designed to give a radiance flux of 10 to 30 nanometer between 400 to 420 nanometer wavelength range at the mattress is ideal. Infant exposed under a portable or fixed blue light source kept a distance about 18 inches from the skin. Double light system with total bodies exposed from the below and above have been used for more effective light exposure, but it is uncomfortable and unfriendly to the baby who is made to lie on the cold and hard perplexed sheet. Instead, intensive single surface phototherapy can be given by using Tubes providing greater irradiance by reducing the distance between tubes and the baby is 15 to 20 centimeter. The effect of phototherapy unit can be enhanced by using slings or curtains made of a white cloth or aluminum to reflect light on the baby. The flux density reduces the time and average rated life of tubes vary from 100 to 2000 hours. The tubes should be replaced when the ends become black or spectral radiant energy at the level of skin is less than 8. The latest phototherapy units based on the principle of fiber optics in which laminated blanket is wrapped around the baby. It ensures exposure of greater surface area and it is ideal for providing double surface light exposure. Then transport of sick infants. Goal of every transport is to bring the sick neonate to specialized neonatal center in a stable condition. To avoid complication during transport, the infant should be stable as possible before leaving the referring hospital and warm change should be maintained. Courtside laboratory facilities. Satisfactory facilities for routine radiological examination should be available in the nursery round the clock. A side laboratory for routine analysis of blood, urine, glucose, bilirubin, hematocrit should be available. Facility for analysis of serum sodium, potassium, calcium, total serum proteins, and albumin should be at hand. Collection of venous blood is often difficult and hazardous on sick preterm babies. These babies often require frequent biochemical estimation. Thus, a microchemical laboratory which can carry out investigation on very small samples of blood obtained is heparinase capillary tubes or microcentrifuge tubes from heel puncture should be considered as an essential facility for an NICU. It has been realized that physical and social environment of nursery affect the recovery and long mobility of the neonate. Attempts should be made to reduce unnecessary noise and light. Avoid excess of light. Handling should be gentle. Neonates, including preterm, feel pain and painful stimuli can cause deleterious physiological responses. Analgesia should be provided during all procedures, including ventilation. Parents should be allowed to unrestricted entry to the nursery. They should be explained how about various tubings and attachment to the baby and should be involved in the care of their baby. Thank you. Thank you for listening.